Why, hello there, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. My name is Mr. DB333, and welcome back to Hearts of Iron for the New Order as the United Mexican States. And last time we were here together, we started working on the great projects. We're scouting out some talents, and we're making sure to put Mr. Ordaz down, kick Ordaz down a peg or two. We're stabilizing some of our economic stuff, and we're just kind of generally working on some the rest of his focus tree right over here. Anywho, I was gonna look at it. I was going to expand state crops, I think, in the Northeast. Was it the Northeast I was going to do that in? I think it was Baja, actually, I was going to do that in. There we go. Good thing I'm taking some time to refresh everything before I get into it. But before we get even further, we got to check out some of the lore. Let's check out what's going on in Chihuahua and Ciudad Juarez, but firstly, Chihuahua. Courage, loyalty, and hospitality. These are the three core values of the city of Chihuahua, the capital of the state of the same name. Founded at the intersections of the river Chubascar and Sacramento, Chihuahua is nothing more than an agricultural center. It is simply a trading post for cattle on their way to the golden arches of the U.S. When visiting the dusty neon-stained town, lined with nothing but 12-foot glowing signs advertising a fermented escape, it is impossible to conceptualize both the both past and future of the city. Chihuahua, behind its deceptive haze of Lotus Eater urban ruralism, has been everything from the capital for Benito Juarez's government in exile to the headquarters of Pancho Villa's División del Norte. It has been the unwilling host to Miguel Hidalgo when he faced execution. It serves as the de facto capital of Nueva Vizcaya, the first province of New Spain to be settled. Even the name Chihuahua is ancient, far older than the Spanish conquest. It comes from the Nahuatl language, and fittingly means between two waters. Makes sense because every time I see a Chihuahua, I want to punt it into a river. This moment in the city's history, the image of a desert Sodom, is only meant for the desperate and the foolish. This is only a momentary embarrassment. The historical city of bankers and businessmen from the area of Porfirio Diaz will return, and with increasing American business opportunities just north of the border and a few manufacturing plants just south of it, it's sure to return faster than anyone expected. Well, next we got Ciudad Juarez, the refuge of freedom, the guardian of the republic. The sleepy collection of missions in the presidios on the Rio Grande found greatness handed to them in the fires of the French Revolution, or intervention, when Benito Juarez led the republic in its bitter struggle against foreign tyranny. As time went on, the crucial intersection of America and Mexico grew prosperous, but still remained the haven of freedom fighters such as Madero, Carranza, and Villa, who placed a premium on the city's symbolic and logistical and economic importance. Today, Juarez is looking brighter and brighter. The border industrialization programs bring American companies and jobs across the river. The city's undergone a beautification program with new neo-colonial architecture, and thousands of Mexican migrants and American tourists come to this rapidly growing city, a centerpiece of the North. With the economy booming and a rich history of defiance behind them, Juarez seems more and more like the vision of Mexico many dream it will be. Well, that's very nice. From one thing to read to another. Enrique stepped out of his comfort zone and onto the pier. The boardwalk had been fruitless for a young pan campaigner with too many tourists, and worse, the eerie feeling that he was being watched. Nervous, he took in the mix of wood and rust that made up the city's fishing fleet. A group of fishermen stopped to look at him. "You come for another fee?" spat one over his surf. "No," said Enrique, a righteous anger arousing in his throat. "No, I didn't. The opposite, actually. I'm here to make sure honest men like yourselves never get shaken down by some pre-flunky ever again." Eyes widened, he hooked them. "How?" "I'm not going to tell you to join this or that sector or union controlled by the very people that rob you. There's a better way. Vote. Vote to put someone who listens to you in City Hall, not a pre-man whose only goal is to impress the governor. Says bobbed in agreement. All that was left was to reel on. Take this pamphlet, Enrique said, soft hands deftly pressing blue and white sheets into calloused palms. It has the names and photos of pawns and Sonata candidates. As the doc launched into a spirited conversation, Enrique tried to gauge his haul. 15, maybe 20 votes. A few more days like this, and maybe Pan had a chance. From Pan and fish, miracles. Pan. Get it? It's the Spanish word for bread. And also the party. It's so clever. I think I laughed at that joke last night. I don't know if I even really laughed at it properly, but... Clank. That was the sound her wrench made as she thrust it against the middle sheet to tighten the bowl with 5 quick turns. She'd gotten it down from 6 quick turns in the 6 months since she arrived on the farm. She tried to think about how much better this was than the farm. Clank. But Coahuila sweatshop is not a good place to think, because those thoughts turned to her aching arms, the grease that wouldn't wash out, the clank. She made just enough pesos to put tortillas on her table and sleep in a bed. She could hear the clank and put tortillas on her table and sleep in a bed, and there wasn't a clank. The line had stopped. Manuel, the Confederation of Mexican Workers representative, was walking around. Along with the others, she dutifully formed a semicircle around him. Manuel's voice began a practice hush. Brothers and sisters, I come with exciting news for you. Show our support for the revolution is the source of all our rights as workers. The CTM has arranged transportation to Saltillo for a rally. So take up these banners, these symbols of equality and justice, and join us. Some of her male colleagues took the banners and headed to the bus outside. She, like most of the others, received a small pre-flag instead. It was only upon taking it that she realized the wrench was still in her other hand. The clank would resume tomorrow. And joke must have been all the rage among Mexican dads in the 2000s. That's what I'm saying. Alright, let's go ahead. Let's get some staple crop productions going. Up the productivity there. That also expands our maximum debt, it looks like. Which will be very useful, especially with the proyectos. Do we have nothing started here? Well, we gotta figure out something to do over here now. Looks like we finished up the bridge. The Gulf, let's do... We could do some stimulation, get some quality of life going up for the urban voters. Well, this would up everything we'd want, I guess, except for maybe rural population, but I don't even know if mine that matters too much. Let's do a new electricity plant. From the most humble peasant woman mending garments dark to the mightiest captains of industry planning a new factory, Mexicans need electricity. We will meet that need by constructing the next generation of power facilities, each one a monument to the advancement of our nation. Get it. Anything else we can finish up? Does not quite look like it. No, that's Salinas. Right, that's the other guy. Lopez Mateos felt a grumble heave from his chest. He looked over longingly out to the cityscape and felt a drowsy spell come over him. His only reprieve was a cigar he had selected from his humidor. The whistle-stop tour had been busy but fruitful. He had sped up and down the country, shaking hands in public and knuckling down the governors in private. His demands? No factionalism, no trouble, more taxes, more support. Most of them knew better, were receptive, acted agreeable, and so on, but that bastard, Leopoldo Sanchez Celis, was particularly greasy. He had vacillated, pretended not to know what he was talking about, even gave him those stupid looks. Fucking odious. Do you not know who he was? He was the goddamn president. Carlos A. Madrazo, governor of Tabasco, swung through the door. Forgive me, Your Excellency, is this a bad time? Lopez Mateos noticed that he'd been deeply frowning. He looked at his reflection through the double glazing and saw a cantankerous fool stare back. This was not him. No, please. Incendiario. Grab a seat. Madrazo blew into a seat and glared at the president's cigar, lazily clutched between his fingers. He frowned subtly. Are you satisfied with the tour? I did what I had to do. It's just not pleasant, is it? Lopez Mateos put it out. The issues of his succession. People use it as an opportunity for their own. You have my full support, Your Excellency. You know very well I have always been in your camp. Madrazo nodded. If there's anything I can do, just say the word. I know what all those fools from the old guard are like. He was right after. Madrazo had been in support since the 50s, a key ally in his bid for the presidency. Thank you, Governor. I would say Madrazo. I'm going to look him up on Wikipedia just so. Just a Mexican politician. Not too much I'm getting on the Wikipedia page. Looks like the highest he got was governor of Tabasco. Go figure. Oh, he died in like 69. Oh, he died in a fucking plane crash. Oh, shit. Huh. Interesting. Alright, let's go ahead and get working on a team sport. The PRI is more than a political party. It's the true legit legacy of President Lázaro Cárdenas, a corporatist instrument ingrained in every aspect of Mexican government and society. The National Peasant Confederation, or CNC, reaches across millions of hectares to organize our farmers, while the broad tent of a National Confederation of Popular Organizations, or CNOP, directs teachers, industrials, and our burgeoning middle classes. These corporations are the militancy, the PRI's vast base of enthusiastic members. We'll eagerly follow the standards of the revolution wherever Lopez Mateos may point it. You have the strongest corporate arm is the Confederation of Mexican Workers, the amalgamation of unions that hold tranquil the working class. Secure the CTM's support for the upcoming succession, the president's bold plans. We'll meet with his general secretary, Fidel Velázquez. Enrique Olivares Santana sampled some of the vintage Don Calzana has brought for him. He beamed a convincing smile, took his glass, and gave it a regal whiff. Senor, how's the business with the farmers? Don Calzada shifted in his rattan seat a bit, sipping conservatively from the fruits of his own labor, or more accurately, the labor of his underpaid, ill-treated workers. Governor, they complain that I do not pay them enough. I've heard tales that they are planning to stage some sort of revolt. Land Don Calzada owned was officially a hidal, but it was in fact a large-scale private farm that he controlled right from his own compound. A consequence of reforms of Miguel Alemán, whom Olivares had helped elect. He'd spent many a night campaigning for Alemán in the beautiful state of Aguas Calientes, after all. Well, tell you what, I'll make use of some of the local police and we can try to sort the situation out. However, the Don seemed to deflate. Please, Governor, I do not have any money. Olivares drank from his Pinot Noir and put out a snide laugh. So you'll not compensate them for their services? You're a smart man, don't give me that. Telephone my secretary in the morning and bring your checkbook. The feeble vineyard owner was an easy racket. He'd spiraled himself into debt that Olivares could ask anything of him. And who could he complain to? The governor had built the roads, the schools, and the hospitals. He was the favorite son of Aguas Calientes, and his word was law. At least until the president said otherwise. As part of Lopez Mateos' tour, Governor Olivares had promised undying loyalty, but more importantly, his money. As long as he could provide for the president, he could screw around with Don Calzada as much as he liked. A good year, senor. The state of Michoacan, the soul of Mexico, is the birthplace of Lazaro Cardenas, and so the Cardenista PRI, the soul of the party, gathered there to discuss how to continue his legacy, to make themselves known to each other and known to the world as standard bearers of the revolution. That had been the plan, anyway. Cardenas himself decided to shadow the conference with a massive rally, setting on it the same date and time. This caused some confusion within the conference room. Over the din of shouting leftists, Carlos Madrazo brought his fist down the oaken table. Rather than silencing the crowd, the pounding encouraged the others to bicker louder. The only demand to pierce the escalating cacophony was a shouted, "Tamaulipas? Tamaulipas!" Madrazo drew himself up, summoning the authority he had learned to muster in the rough-and-tumble 30s. So what's what General Cardenas would want? He boomed, but the chaos surrounding him did not subside. A finger jabbed Madrazo's chest as the party members to his left began a mostly inaudible rant about the CTM. Fed up, the Southern Cyclone brushed past the elderly revolutionaries. He stormed out. Passing the threshold of the conference room, Madrazo muttered to himself, "Is this what General Cardenas would want?" A giant casts a long shadow over a field of dwarves. And also, we're losing production units. I think we have enough energy. Yeah, we have enough energy. It's not that. The President of Mexico opened the door to an office where, when both the President and its owner were in attendance, decisions were made which affected millions were to be made. Knocking on the door as a mere formality, the man outside knew he was coming, and listened to what Lopez Mateos had to say. "Licenciado Velasquez, I see you've been busy." The president looked at the stack of papers on the desk, belonging to the leader of the country's largest labor union, the Confederation of Mexican Workers, no doubt pertaining to preparations for the succession. The president commented no further. Fidel Velasquez looks up from his papers. "Never too busy to host your excellency, of course. What do you bring me?" "I thought I would keep you updated on my thought process surrounding my successor. As of late, Ordaz's actions have kept me in doubt, let's say." "Ordaz? Really? Interesting. I thought he had the position locked down." A look of concern flashes over the main eyes, though Mateos continues. "One would think." Mateos knew that Ordaz was Velasquez's preferred man for the job, and refrained from letting the issue linger. "Anyway, I was also going to ask about the infrastructure projects. It is imperative that they remain steady, for you never know when we might have to use them for something." Mateos smiles. "Olympic in scale." The Jew trader looks, and Velasquez took the hint. "Of course, Your Excellency, they will." Next, let's do the Veracruz debut. The existence of the Mexican Revolution on the international stage has always been a complex reality. As the imperialist powers attempt to infiltrate and influence our great nation, the revolution has been forced to isolate itself to survive. Today, the situation has significantly improved as revolutionary zeal has spread across Latin America. Fidel Castro, the Republic of Cuba, and Wolfgang Larrazabal of the Republic of Venezuela have both become significant allies of the PRI. Their commitment to revolutionary struggle cannot be understated, and as such, we must stay united in our fight against imperialism and despotism. President Lopez Mateos staunchly believes in the Latin American Revolution, shall invite Castro and Larrazabal to Veracruz to discuss our collective future. Well, there we go. I'm going to take my hoodie off real quick. All right. There was a place for the names. Fernando Gutierrez Barrios accounted countless sequestered in the recesses of his mind. Soon a name would be all that remained of Manuel Sebastian Ortiz. At Gutierrez's order, a DFS agent had been assigned to the case, notified of the communist agitator in his district. He knew what to do from there. A quick arrest for something minor, an incident that left the dissident's face disfigured and heart stopped, a body dismembered and dumped. A transfer of records from hospitals, offices, and schools to a small fire, an entry with the agitator's own key into his apartment, removing any personal effects and documents in a black briefcase. A vague missing persons description and a bland DFS report on the disappearance of a local nuisance. Only Gutierrez would remember the name Manuel Sebastian Ortiz. The land of southern Chiapas knew the patterns of time. It knew of heat and rain. It knew of hose and sweat. It knew of Gustavo's life and the rhythm, just as it knew of those men and women who tilled the ejido alongside him. It knew that they would die, that he would die. Just as Gustavo's father and grandfather before him had. That before they died, they would live in the same simple homes, eat the same simple meals made from the corn and beans they'd retched from it. But every so often there would be disturbance. A man in a white shirt and red button would struggle to coax his horse up the rocky path to the village. The others came to the village, and they each came in their own ordained time. The petty traders came after the harvest. Maria when someone had a fever. This one from the Confederación Nacional Campesina, seemed to come and go as he pleased. But even this disturbance had its own pattern. Gustavo would greet the man sullenly, and they would talk for a few minutes. Gustavo would leave the man, and his family would scrounge together the pesos he had demanded. The peasants would then follow the man and his horse down the rocky trail for the hours it took to reach the main road. They would be taken to a rally where they would be told about the revolution and the bright future the PRI was bringing them. They would shamble home around daybreak, and things would continue as before. Nothing new under the sun. Okay, so Yucatan is really the least developed area. It seems economically. Let's do a tourist campaign over here. Try to get that stimulated a little bit more. So it looks like we want to get things urbanized up. I think. We're doing okay unemployment-wise, at least in the direct south. We just got to figure out in the west. We'll work on some state industry coming up, I think. Anyway, 800. And gentlemen, that is why we must begin mobilizing our resources. That being said, keep all reasons why on the hush. Velasquez meant it, and the CTM board understood. Our bid is not confirmed. 930, yes, Licenciado. Discrepancy. We understand. The CNC will hold a meeting discussing the plan shortly, and all regions will be informed. The aide hung up the phone, quickly calling in her boss and giving him the news. 1100. In the boardrooms of the pre-office in Guerrero, a voice booms. We have orders from on high to accelerate all projects in the work sector immediately. Get to it. At 1300, an Acapulco union boss meets with his subordinates in a small office downtown. Something big is coming, and we are a part of it. We need all the dock workers on overtime shifts. The bosses look unconcerned. Orders are over, and these come all the way from Mexico City. 1500. Here's what you guys need to do. Here's what we need you guys to do. The Union Rep dodged a shipping container, barely keeping his head as he spoke to his supervisor. Whew. So, we need pontoons. 1800. Martin sighed. His day was almost over. Walking to the port entrance to clock out, his supervisor bumped him with a box, handing it to him. The fuck? Didn't you hear? We have overtime this week. But you know who doesn't have overtime this week? We do with this video. I got into here. So to all the YouTube people watching, thanks for watching. Like if you liked it, so like if you didn't, leave me comments, feedback down in the comment section below. I read all the comments I get. I appreciate anal feedback on behalf for me. Check out my various links in the box below. And yeah, leaving comments, feedback down in the comment section below as well. I'm gonna leave it there. Thanks for watching, my friends. My name has been Mr. Doggo333. I will see you all next time. Bye-bye.